R.A.I.N is a mindfulness practice for connecting with any difficult or uncomfortable emotions that arise at any given moment. It can be a formal meditation practice or just a quick way to practice self-compassion in the moment. And R.A.I.N is an acronym for 4 steps. Makes it easy to remember, especially when you're feeling triggered. You can access it. So sitting tall, relaxed, with eyes closed, or a steady, gentle, downcast gaze. You might rest the hands in Gyan Mudra to help direct the focus inward, thumb and index fingers touching, palms face up. Now allow the breath to continue flowing naturally. Sensing where in your body you can rest your attention most easily to observe the breath, its sensations. So that anytime you might catch your awareness drift off away from this practice, you can come back to that place in your body and again sense the breath as a way of anchoring back to the present. So I invite you now to recall a recent moment in which you experienced any kind of difficult emotion at a lower degree of intensity. Let's say the scale is from 1 to 10. Maybe it lands at a 4 or 5 or 6, somewhere in the middle. Because this is a brief practice, we want to be able to leave still feeling balanced. So it might have been a moment of impatience that arose when you're waiting for something, or disappointment, or frustration. Maybe you, like in my experience, sense you were judging yourself and feeling guilty. And when you've chosen one of those situations to practice R.A.I.N with, the first step of R.A.I.N is R for recognize. Recognize the emotion. So allow a moment to visualize that situation. And succinctly name the emotion that's difficult or uncomfortable. The second step in R.A.I.N is A for allow yourself to fully feel it. Give the emotion space to express itself, especially in your physical body. Now, R.A.I.N is not about analyzing things as much as it is about being present with a physical, visceral experience. So allow a moment to replay the situation and notice who is there, what was said or not said. And through this, re-experiencing that emotion in your physical body. You might experience it even more subtly through what's called your felt sense. For example, when guilt arose for me, I felt a sort of static around my chest, clutter of energy around my throat, a bit of confusing movement around my belly. An unsettling feeling. So practice being in the aliveness of your body and its sensations. In light of self-compassion, this is a way of saying, this belongs. I'm not trying to push it away. This is part of the human experience. And now the third step in R.A.I.N is I for investigate. Part of that we've already been doing, investigating how the emotion feels in your body. Another aspect of that is to ask yourself, what does this vulnerable part of me want? What does it want me to know? And one way of addressing that is to ask, what am I believing? What am I believing? For example, when the feelings of guilt arose for me in my story in the beginning, I was believing that my self-worth was dependent on how many things I could check off on my to-do list. So I was experiencing feelings of unworthiness, guilt. So after investigating, the last step in R.A.I.N is N for nurture. How does this vulnerable part of you want you to be with it? How can you offer yourself an authentic gesture of loving kindness, of compassion? For me, in that situation in which guilt arose, I reminded myself that it doesn't matter how many things I do or how productive I am, I'm still a good person. So reminding yourself of your innate goodness can be powerful. Sometimes a gesture can be physical touch, like gently placing a palm on your chest and just sensing that soothing warmth. If you find it difficult to give yourself nurturance, you might think of someone, whether a person, a pet, an animal, a spiritual figure, someone who's crossed over to the spiritual realm, anyone who cares about you and that you trust, offering you that nurturance, something that feels genuine. Allowing yourself to feel nurtured. Sit in that feeling now. At the end of R.A.I.N is actually the most important part, where we regain the perspective that we are not these different thoughts or even the emotions that come and go. We are like a vast ocean that has room to invite it in and see it go. Let the waves flow in and out. So coming back to the sense of the vastness of your being, the innate goodness that you are. Notice now how you are feeling mentally and emotionally, and any other effects of your practice today. You might join your palms together at your heart center, acknowledging anything you appreciate right now. I invite you to give yourself thanks as well, as the practice of R.A.I.N. It's not always easy. In fact, it can be quite challenging at times, especially when we're in the heat of the difficult emotion. Just like all of these different yoga practices, they become more accessible when we really need them, when we practice them often.